There we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's Shir Shabil Ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem Ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Dovidal's grandfather Reb Shmuel Ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and L'Refu Shalema Bekarov Meshalem Ben Sarah Rachel, Miriam Bas Sarah, and Yair Yoshia Ben Chaya Etra. Today we are on page 96 in the art scroll for those who are following along. And yesterday and the day before we spoke about the two main components as to the full bitachon, and how the first reason we spoke about the test that why man must work for his livelihood, why we need hishtadlus. And so there's two reasons for that. The first one is to test a person. And we understood that a person is here to house the neshama in order to be able to get these tests, these opportunities to do mitzvahs and refraining from doing averos, and therefore we elevate our neshama to a higher standard. And then we spoke about the second one is that we need to do ishtadlus in order so that we don't sit around all day and do nothing. And we spoke about the fact that if we sit around and we do absolutely nothing all day, it leads us to do futile things. It leads us to lead a life of emptiness and doing averos. And it leads us also, it spoke about that it leads us to start thinking bad thoughts, machshavas ra, that things like, hey, what's up with the world? How was the world created? Things that we spoke about when we were children that you're not allowed to think about, And so those are the reasons. And so now, based on these reasons that we spoke about, these two reasons that we spoke about, there's an exception to the rule that people must be busy with earning a livelihood. We said that the reason we need these two things, the reason we need to do ishtadlus, is because we need these tests from Hashem, and we need to make sure that we don't sit around and not be empty all day. Right, as we know. And so therefore, we have these things. And now, so based on this, there is an exception to this rule. And the exception to this rule is, Chavis says like this. It says, V'im hu magber avodas elikim. And if a person makes his service to Hashem his priority, I mean, that's all he does all day, and chooses a life of fear of Hashem, and places his trust in Him with respect to his spiritual as well as his worldly matters, meaning he says to Hashem, look, I trust you with everything, both in the spiritual world, for Olam Haba, and both in anything in this world. I don't need anything. Hashem promises his basic sustenance. I'll survive, and that's all I need. And he gives over his entire life to that. And steers clear of deplorable things, for example, negative character traits. I mean, he doesn't do things that someone who's sitting around doing nothing might get himself involved into doing to doing averos and getting into bad habits. And yearns for acquiring good character traits, such as that in some he has shown the total commitment to his observance of Hashem and his will to do Hashem's mitzvos and refraining from doing averos. And so this person has been an example of such. He's showing that, not just saying it, he's showing that. And in addition, he has demonstrated that from the burdens of this world, he has demonstrated that he does not rebel against Hashem when in a state of tranquility and freedom from the burdens of this world, meaning that when things happen to him that are beyond his comprehension, we know that, but things are seemingly negative, he hurt himself, he's not doing well mentally, physically, he doesn't stray from Hashem. He doesn't say, oh, Hashem, you're not with me anymore. No, still, full-fledged, full-on love for Hashem all day, just avodas Hashem. And he does not veer towards the pursuit of leisure and laxity toward the Torah's obligations that typically comes with leisure. Meaning that we spoke about yesterday, when someone is so lax and he's not doing anything, he winds up coming to this world of, this also goes into a part of one of the tests of wealth. As people have so much money, they have this seemingly easy life, it's very easy for them to stray away and start living the party life, the high life, the quick life. And when you're living the quick, easy life, it's very easy for you to forget Hashem and to start doing averos and stuff like that. It says, and he's not taken in by enchantments of the world to be drawn to pursue them. He's not interested in the luxuries. He doesn't care what marketing says out there. Oh, you need this or you want this. He doesn't care for these things. Yistalik me'alav torach ha'gilgul v'hasibu v'havas tarpai. If a person has reached this lofty level of spiritual greatness, then he will be relieved of the burden of having to seek out and make use of natural causes in order to obtain his livelihood. It says, if there's such a person out there that really dedicates his entire being to Hashem, and he makes no difference whether something good is happening in his life or something bad is happening in his life, he doesn't care. He always loves Hashem, always does his mitzvahs, never does averos. He always is on Hashem's page. And he fully trusts in Hashem that Hashem is going to take care of him with his basic sustenance, doesn't need or require any kind of luxuries at all. Then this person, it says, yes, this person does not have to be involved in Ashtadlis. Because this person has already proven he doesn't do any averos when he's sitting around doing nothing. And he's not afraid that he's not going to be tested, because obviously, clearly, he's been tested by Hashem and he's showing the results of that. Because the two above mentioned reasons do not apply to him. Habachina, and that is that there's no need for testing his loyalty to Hashem, which is the first reason we gave, since he has already shown his commitment to serving Hashem. And the risk of his rebelling against Hashem out of receiving good. The second reason, which is the Ishtadlis, it also is inapplicable to him, since he has consistently shown that he stays very, very focused on the service of Hashem, even when he is very comfortable, even when he is not comfortable, in any situation. He doesn't start getting lax. We all know when we're desperate for something, we do everything we can to get that. Studies actually have shown that the number one reason as to why people do not have, the majority of people have more money than they feel that they need, is because they stop working as hard when they've reached a number that they feel they need for their basic needs, or even for their luxuries, whatever that is. So if someone says, I need $150,000 a year, that's a joke. No one needs $150,000. You broke at that point. If someone says he needs $250,000 a year to survive, and so he works hard, makes that $250,000, but doesn't work past that. The wealthy people are working past that. They don't think of it in that sense. It's a very different concept. And studies have shown that. And he says over here it's the same exact thing. It says that he's very comfortable in his situation, this particular person, and he doesn't care that he's comfortable. He's still plowing ahead. He is that business owner that doesn't make a difference. He met his quotas, he met his thing, the salesperson, the individual employee, they met their quotas, they did what they need to do, they paid the bills, it doesn't make a difference. They're still plowing ahead, they're still pushing forward, they still want to earn more, want to grow from there. And that's this type of person. But it's in a spiritual, lofty way that this type of personality. In such a case, his livelihood will come to him easily without preoccupation and without toil. So when this person is so embedded in the concept that he's only doing this for Hashem and he trusts in Hashem fully, he says that his livelihood will come to him easy. To the extent of satisfying his basic needs and sustenance. It says in the pasuk, Hashem will not allow the soul of the righteous man to hunger. That the righteous person is going to always be fed and is never going to have to worry about food. And here's something we need to understand and need to take clear. This person that we're talking about, his only need in this world is his basic sustenance. We need food and water and housing, and clothing, but basic. We're not talking about luxuries. And so we have to understand something. This person could only exist if someone who does not have any interest, has no interest in anything more than what is literally bread and water, or maybe literally just to survive. And when you start having an interest in even in anything extra, that is not what's covered by the promise of Hashem. Hashem's promise and guarantee is that I will provide you with basic sustenance. When you want 2 cars, even they're both 5-year-old Toyota Camrys, doesn't matter. That is not basic sustenance. Your basic sustenance is you survive. And by the way, we're going to learn that it's only you. That's not your wife and your children or anyone else. It's only you that Hashem makes that promise. And Hashem makes that promise to every single person separately. Everyone has to have their own work that they have to do with that. And so we see from this, and tomorrow we're going to get into a topic that if we just said what we just said, and we have all these tzaddikim on this world, why do we see that so many times The righteous sometimes suffer, while the wicked are prospering. And so we're going to learn that we just spoke about how if you are fully dedicated to Hashem in every single aspect, Hashem will take care of you. Yet we see so often where people who are holy, really truly holy people, that tzaddikim, they're stand-up citizens, and they suffer immensely. Yet we see people who are rishon, real rachtzim, and yet they have money, or what we seem to see in this world, that they have a beautiful life, the way our eyes see it. And tomorrow we're going to get into that topic and to understand that more. But for today, we need to understand, if you want just your basic sustenance filled, and you feel that you can live a life of dedicating your whole entire life to Hashem, without refraining from doing averos, doing all the mitzvahs, really following the law to the T, that you could have full trust in Hashem that He will take care of you. You do not have to do ishtadlus. You do not have to wake up in the morning and go to work. You don't have to do any of those things. And we talk about this as a super, super, super high level that Shaar says it doesn't exist in today's days. But if it did, this is what they would have to do. But until then, all of us, learning our share in the mornings or afternoons and achavrusas and davening 3 times a day, we still require our ishtalas in every single day because of the 2 points. And just to recap, we don't want to sit around and do nothing, for it might lead to us doing bad things. And we want to make sure that we get tested by Hashem. We want to make sure that we get those opportunities, that we get opportunity to eat, make a bracha, opportunity to make money so we can build a house, so we can put a mezuzah, so that we can build a family. All those different mitzvahs that come out of our ishtadlus as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today, and I love you all.